Psalm 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Jesus has completely annihilated all darkness and all evil and all fear. He has given us new life and power to overcome the enemy. So much so that Jesus sets a table in front of the enemy for us to enjoy fellowship with him out in the open, ignoring all the threats and presence of darkness. We are to live fear-free. Amen. That doesn't mean that we won't sometimes feel fear, but it does mean that we can choose to not give fear permission to govern us. Right in the middle of the darkest situation, we can recline at the table with Jesus and hang out with the King of Kings. Ignoring Satan and his works makes him nuts. All right, so he, meaning Satan, thrives on our attention. So let's strategically ignore him in any situation he brings. Turn your circumstances into praise. If you feel afraid, start to thank Father out loud for the truth that he has not given you a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. Prophesy Father's promises. If you're in a tight financial squeeze, then start to praise Father for his miraculous provision before it manifests. If you have a child not walking in new creation life, then proclaim and declare and prophesy your child will walk in the way, and that deception and addiction are not the governor of your child's life, but rather the risen Son of God, Jesus Christ, is your child's ruler. Let's purposefully and brutally ignore Satan and his little pal fear, and praise and worship our way through the valley of the shadow of death. Let's enjoy meeting and reclining at the table where Jesus sits, waiting for us. There's another example in the Old Testament. You're probably familiar with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, where the three young men were thrown into the fire. Actually, they weren't thrown into the fire. We're not sure how they got into the fire because the guys that were throwing them into the fire perished. But they were in the fire, and Jesus comes and appears in the fire with them. And, Jesus could have come with water and put the fire out. He could have come with a mighty wind and blown the fire out. He completely ignored the fire. And he somehow was able to overcome the effects of that consuming fire with his presence. He just negated all of the power of the fire by his mere presence, and he completely ignored it. He had fellowship with those three men inside of the fire, and he didn't take them out of the fire. He taught them how to ignore the fire while they were in the fire.